11:38 p.m. But I've been doing readings since the last 2 hours or so on React Mixins because on my previous streams, well, on my previous stream, only one, I failed super badly on how to use these mixins. These things are called mixins. If you watch the previous stream, you know what I'm talking about. Turns out it's extremely complicated. Well, one of my friends, not really extremely complicated. So things are complicated only if you don't know how they work and if you don't understand them. But once you understand how these things work, then you can um, you can plug them into your website and then create awesome stuff. Anyway, so one of my friends, Sam, his name is Sam. He recommended me to use Mixins for spacings in my website. So I have this blog. I wanted to add some spacing. As you can see, there's a lot of space now, but yeah, we'll come to that. So he has proposed me, well, he said I should use this file to generate all of my default paddings so I could just use them everywhere without adding extra class names to each one of my components. And I thought, yeah, that's right. That would clean up some bits of my code. So I read I read this blog post. Well, it's not a blog post, it's an article, right? Anyway, I read this and I've learned how to use them. But the more I learned about them, the more, well, they are certainly interesting, but then I was like, hey, why doesn't Bootstrap include these? Because like having um, a generic spacing method is super useful, right? Turns out Bootstrap already has generic spacing. So, but let's backtrack a little bit and let me first explain how mixins work. So let's first of all let's just start by reverting everything back to its previous state, right? So let's delete this file as well because we're going to add this again. Cool. Okay. So this is the project right now. Let's start. Okay, the server is already running, so which means we can hop into the website and I can show you. Right. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to add some spacing to the top of this header. So I wanted it to, like, I just wanted some space between this text IP manager and the beginning of this card, right? And my friend Sam, while I was doing a stream, he messaged me on the stream chat room. He said, hey, there's this thing that I made the other day for my own personal website. You should totally use this. And I was like, yeah, that looks very clean actually. Let me give it a try. Well, first problem was, this was in SCSS, right? But in my project, I am using SAS, SASS, which is very similar to SCSS, but doesn't have the curly brackets or the semicolons. Some people prefer this way. I prefer to not have semicolons or curly brackets. Not because they're not nice or anything. Like having a defined scope is always nice, but it's just CSS and it's not that long. Like files should not be longer than 100 lines, and when files are short, that it's easy to manage them. And also ESLint or IntelliJ's autocorrect auto format is able to format them properly, so it's not a problem anyway. So okay, first problem, as I said, this was in SCSS and I need to convert it to SAS. Fortunately, there was this little tool that I found on the web. I was just searching for SCSS to SAS converters, and thankfully, someone has made the perfect tool for us. So we are just going to copy this. I'm going to explain everything, by the way. Let me just first convert this to this SCSS to SAS. And we're going to copy that. No, wait. Before we copy that, we are going to add another style sheet. So this style sheet that we're going to add is going to be called spacing.sas. There's a reason why I'm starting with a non-capital letter. Well, not really, because like generic SAS files, I think generic SAS files should be named like with non-capital letters at the beginning, just like index.sas. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Okay, let me explain you how this works. We can let me explain the first bit. We don't need this. Okay, right. I've cleaned it up a lot, right? Okay, so when your website is running, this file. Okay, so actually, before we do that, let me remove these things, get rid of those things because they're just super complicated for a new beginner. Okay, what this does is, you see we have 4 different space amounts in here, right? This is a loop, and it generates CSS for us, actually SAS. Anyway, so for each space, there's 4 of them in space amounts. Space amounts is like an array which has 4 elements. Generate these classes and append them to this file or something. And those classes should contain these things. I'm going to type all of those in here so you could understand better. So this is like margin, let's say space is 50, margin 50, and then this translates into margin 50 and pixels and important. Well, now I'm just going to copy this, well, duplicate it actually. And the second one is 75. Oh, entering numbers with this keyboard is extremely difficult. 100. I should get better at this at using this keyboard. Anyway, so you can see here, this file generates this exact same thing. This file turns, like, these rules turn into these things. So 50 gets placed in there. This is a variable. Anyway, and the way you use this is, let me go back to my blog post file. Let me close all of these things. We don't need them, right? Let's open the blog post component. Well, it's a page, right? So under pages, we have blog post. Okay, cool. Right, let's import this file. Instead of importing individual class names, the way you use this is, you just import just the file. So you do style sheets, and in style sheets we have spacing.sas. Let's add the semicolon there. And the way you use this is this. Let me just show you. Okay. Oops. Okay. And well, it's past 11, half 11. It's past half 11, so it's getting more and more difficult for me to type. But okay, what do we have in here? So pad. Actually, let me put this stuff back so we can understand better. So we have these class names, right? Also, oh, sorry. And obviously, we also have. One sec. Let me. Pad and thing. No. All right, sorry. Right, these are not 50 though, right? This should be 75. Oh, come on, this. Okay, I'm just gonna copy these and paste them in. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing for paddings as well. So I think you get the point. So if you add the class name like padding pad 15 here, this class is gonna get picked up, and it's going to add a padding of 50 to my element. I can just remove these, and if the server is running, yes, it is running. So let's go back to the website, and as you can see, we have a padding of 50 here. Let me just revert it back so you can see what it was like before. So it was like this before, but when you type pad 15 here, then it suddenly starts looking like this. Maybe there's a better way to do this. Like, rather than defining all of the numbers in here, you can possibly give, actually no, right? No. Well, in the second part of the stream, I'm going to show you something else. But in the meanwhile, let's keep this in mind. This is a very simple way to add padding without like cluttering your CSS files, right? You define all of your spacings here. Like you have a universal list of spacings that you could use in your whole website. This keeps consistency, and at the same time, it allows you to write cool stuff like this. You don't have to import anything. This is literally a tiny, tiny single import. And rather than importing this file in here, you can go to index.js and you could literally do this. Oh, wait. Did I copy the wrong thing again? Yes. So cut this, paste it in here. This would still work probably. Okay, let me find this file again. So instead of, where's index? So we go into style sheets. Do we have to do this? All right, okay, let's go by recommendations. Right, we have style sheets in here, and under there we have spacing.sass. Import not resolved. Unable to resolve path to spacing. That's very odd, but I think I know just the issue. Yep, that fixes it. Cool. So rather than importing the file inside blogpost.jsx, you can import in index.js and it would behave 100% the same way. So rather than importing this spacing file into every single one of your components, you could import it to index.js and it would apply everywhere in your website, which is why this is super nice and clean. Yes, this is great. But then I almost convinced myself to use this, but then I was like, hey, Bootstrap must have some stuff like this, right? This is very common stuff and many people must be using it, and Bootstrap with its amazing grid system must also have something very similar already built in, and it's probably going to be better than my implementation. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. So if you go to Bootstrap's website, you can see there's a section called spacing under utilities, and it explains how it works super simply. The notation, like instead of doing pad 15 here, they have their own very simple notation. So you can you first pick a property. You pick padding. Okay, we're going to replace this with p. We picked padding, right? And then where the sides is one off, then you pick a side. T is top, B is bottom, L is left, right is right, X is for left and right, Y is for top and bottom. Okay, if you leave it blank, it means it applies to all four sides of the element. We want to replicate the behavior that we had in here. It's going to change now. Okay, anyway. Let's go back. Okay. So the size could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this spacer value, I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm not sure if we need it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this. P5 should give us some padding, hopefully. Yes, so it does almost exactly the same thing, and I'm sure that I'm probably never going to use margins bigger than this, except it's a custom component like it's on the homepage. Let's go to the homepage again. Well, this thing is massively custom and it's super specific to this class only. Rather than having a separate file for spacing, I'd rather use Bootstrap's own spacing function, so I could I don't have to add a specific file, and I could keep all of those custom stuff in their own respective components. If this becomes a problem in the future, now I know I can always add this file. So, right, Sam, if you're watching this video, this is a really, really good solution for bigger websites. My website is not that big yet, and I'm probably going to stick with Bootstrap's own solution, but we are now coming to the best part. You have helped me a lot by teaching me Mixins, actually, and I'm going to give you something back. Maybe I'm teaching you something, maybe you already know this, but when I was reading about Mixins stuff, I stumbled upon this. So, what does this solve? Right, all right. We don't need this anymore. We've just learned that we will probably not need this in our website, the spacing thing, at least just not yet. So I'm going to revert all of these changes again. Let's remove spacing.sass. And right. Okay. Do you remember I had this issue many times. Let's close everything. In one of my components, I'll probably have the thing that I want to show you. There. Yeah, this is here. Right, it's here. So this media component, I always find it to be very, very confusing. And also, this is not very consistent, right? In like each time I wanted to use this media tag, I always had to go back to one of the previous classes, copy what I had in there, and I never really understood what max width stands for. Like, okay, if the width of the screen is bigger than 78 pixels, then do this. No, sorry. If the width of the screen is smaller than 768 pixels, then apply these rules. Else, then just stick with whatever is in here. So font size is 50 if screen size is smaller than 768 pixels, but font size will be 75 pixels if the screen size is bigger than 768 pixels, right? Which is okay, cool. But each time when I was writing these media tags, I was confused. And also, like, is there a guarantee that I'm always going to type 768 pixels in here? I like somewhere in my project, I remember having something like this, and it was my fault by not just fixing it. Okay, why can I not find it? Am I not searching the whole project? I believe I'm searching the whole project, right? And this can't only be an image though. This is not searching the whole project. There must be some kind of error. All right, okay, let's go through all of them, and I'm gonna find it manually. Yes, there you go. So that was easy. So in one of my component Sass files, I defined min width as 768 and max width as 767. This is wrong because there's a gap of 1 pixels. Like it should have been this, or I should ideally just remove that one, and it will probably do the same thing. I hope so. I believe so. I don't know. So if I remove this, if I get rid of that as well, does it do the same thing? Let's check. Oh, we have to go to the home page. I'm not sure if something will break or not. Yeah, it works exactly the same way. Turns out I didn't really need that. Well, if there's something wrong, also let's check the mobile site, right? We might have broken it. No, well, it works good. Apart from that button, but that's not really like no one has devices with this width of the screen. Anyway, well, we've managed to do some cleanup. Actually, before I forget what that was, let me commit that one. Well, what was the Sass file? So if something broke, but I did not notice, I can always go back because I have a meaningful commit message now that I can always find and track and see what I did. Anyway, okay. Sorry, got carried away. So what's the point then? Okay. I'll show you. So this is confusing, and also I have to specify 768 pixels in every single one of my files, and I might just do one mistake one day and just put 868, and it would still work on my desktop browser, but I may not notice it. Maybe a very old company will decide to come up with a screen size of like 86 something something. I don't know. It's better to make stuff like this generic rather than also the color names and stuff. Okay, let's get started. So in this website, it mentions that we could have a generic Sass file which contains this stuff, and we can use it like this in our files. So rather than saying at media 768 pixels everywhere in every single one of my files, I could literally now just do this instead. I could do include screen. If the screen size is large, then apply these rules. If the screen size is something else, apply those rules. Okay, well, first of all, this is in SCSS as well. First of all, we need to convert this to Sass. So to do that, we're going to go back to this website again and convert everything to SCSS. And here's our SCSS, okay. This is SCSS, this is Sass. Convert everything to Sass. You're going to go back to IntelliJ and all right, my desk shook a little bit. Was that a problem? I think my housemate just closed the door next to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So style sheets, we're going to go to new file. What are we going to call this? We are going to call it, should we call it media sizing? It's very difficult to pick a name for this actually. What are we going to call this? Mobile optimization? Media tags? No, not media tags. Width picker? Yeah, that's okay, width picker. Let's give it a file name extension. So width picker.sass. We're gonna paste everything in here. And rather than, well, in my website I don't really have a medium to small size. So my small size is 768 pixels. Everything that's below 768 pixels is considered as a small on my website. And everything that is greater than 768 pixels is considered as just normal. So if the screen size is small, then we do this. If the screen size is, did I use anything else than this? This is not searching the whole project today. What's wrong with it? Okay, IntelliJ is broken today. Well, it doesn't matter. All right. Okay, so small screen size is 768 pixels and medium screen size is 1175. I'm not sure if you're going to use it. Again, okay, we're just doing a proof of concept in here, right? We don't need any of these, and not really. Yeah, we can get started with just this bit. So let me explain what this does. So breakpoint small. If the screen size is less than 768 pixels, content is going to get put there. If not, then the content is going to get put in here. Okay, pixels, yes, type max, cool, okay. Okay, that looks just fine. Okay, how are we going to use this? That's the question, right? Okay, so the way you use this is apparently by doing this. So if you go back to the website now that had the blog post, we are going to copy all of these again, and we are going to convert these things back to Sass. So this is our Sass output. Let's copy this. Let's clean it up a little bit. All right, this is just going to sit here as an example. I'm not going to use. I'm just not going to let these just stay. So instead of saying min width 768 pixels, min width 768 pixels probably means if the width is greater than 768 pixels, use this. If not, then use something else. Okay. Right. Yeah, probably. Okay. So how do we replace this? Okay, let's think. We have deleted these ones, right? So if the screen is a small one, which is this one, so let's start typing this. Screen is small, right? Yes, we have type size small. If the screen is small, then do this. Get rid of all of these now. Right, this is not going to work. Is the server running? That's the biggest question. It's not running. Oh, no. Okay, we're gonna amend this commit because this is not really. Okay, let's do it now. Was it amend? Like yes. Okay, what did we do? Added with picker generic stuff. Okay, cool. Anyway, let's start the server. We must have broken the tool, or if you must have broken the whole website. Yes, it's complaining that no Mixin name state screen is there. As you can see, there's nothing in this file that is. Oh, sorry. There is nothing in this file that is called screen. Screen, it's only mentioned in here. The thing that we need to do is we have to import. So where are we now? Not components. Okay. So we are under style sheets. No, we are under components. So we have to go up by one and then import with picker, right? So the way you do that is you go up by one directory and you import with picker, just like this. And if you go back to the website now, it should run. And everything just works again. But at least we have a very, very clear definition of what min width and max width means. So if the screen size is small, which is determined by this file, then this SAS rules applies. This looks extremely clean to me. At some point in the future, I'm planning to add all of these variables to another generic SAS file, just because it looks better and it's cleaner and it's easier to maintain because you don't have these floating magic numbers all around your code. Like, where did this number come from? Yeah, I've determined it at some points, but like it's in here, it's in there, but it just doesn't look good. Like 0.3 seconds. Why is this 0.3 seconds and like where does it come from? It doesn't have a name. Like, it would be better if I could add all of these variables to a generic SAS file, so then I could use that SAS file as a point of reference to change all of these variables later. Okay, right. So what else? What else? Also, how long has it been since I've started this stream? Let me check OBS really quickly. It's been 28 minutes. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm planning to go for like 45, 50-ish minutes, but I'll stop when I finish my work. So this is min width 768 pixels, which means the screen size is big. Okay, how do we write this then? We could do this. At else if, oh, that's big, capital, else if, $ size equals large. We could do at media screen and $ type plus dash width. We could get rid of this and just do that. Instead of saying type, I can now do max, and in here, well, I'm making the CSS worse, but at the same time, I'm making it smaller. I don't want the functions that the author of this original CSS file has. I just want to modify it for my own project. I don't need everything else, right? I write content in here, and instead of doing this now, we could do plus screen large, and we can get rid of this. And it's going to work exactly the same way. Let's go back to the mobile version. Let's make it smaller. Oof, why is that happening? Do you see that? Did we screw up something? We probably did screw up something. Oh no, that is probably because of one of my other changes actually. Yeah, that can't be because of my recent changes, because it only happens during scroll, and we have only one single scroll watcher in this. Anyway, we can fix it towards the end of the stream. Let me make a note in here with my great pen. Okay. Issue. That is a one story point probably, because that's something that I've introduced. It's not really an issue. That's not coming from my side. We're going to say navbar changes margins on mobile on scroll. Cool. So there's the issue ticket. I'm not sure if you can read it. You can probably read it. Anyway. Okay, what else can we fix in this file then? So we've imported the file. This is min width. If you see min width, you can replace it with screen large now. If the screen is large, do this. This is super cool. Again, I may not have used what Sam has told me to use before, but at least he has taught me something that I could actually use on my current website, and hopefully this is useful to him as well. Okay. Yep, it looks clean. So each time I see media tags now, I'm going to replace all of those with screen, small, and big. I'm not going to convert all of those during a stream, but if I see them again in the project, I'm just going to do it by myself. So git commit. What did we do? -m. In the previous commit, we added with picker. In this commit, link with picker with navbar module sas. Git push. Done. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Okay. I'm going to end this stream in here just because I want to end the video, but I'm going to come back in about like 30 seconds just because I want to upload this video to YouTube on like as a tutorial on how to use Mixins and do this thing. All right. Bye.